my thoughts and reactions to Caitlin Clark receiving the Athlete of the Year award by Time Magazine. So, before we do that, this is the 84 Hoops crew. If you're into women's basketball, especially women's professional basketball, I talk all things that and more from my perspective, as well as joining in the discourse with all of you that are like-minded, open-minded, and want to have some fun talking basketball. It's your girl Lils, aka Faya. Join the 84 Hoops crew. So, Time Magazine, I just finished reading the article. Yes, I read all 35 minutes worth. I want to say I read it under about 33 minutes. So anyway, it was a great read. It was a great article, actually. But I think the parts that people are struggling with are accepting the fact that Caitlin Clark is becoming radicalized. And I think that's great. She's about 22 years old. I know for me at 22, I lived a completely different life. I was very much for the people, about the people, just wanting to do my part and help and educate myself as much as possible on the struggles of minorities, marginalized communities, etc., etc. But if I think back and give her some grace, right? If she's 22, the last 5 years of her life have been in this weird seclusionary bubble when it comes to being quarantined, having to question her college career, her future WNBA career, and to be someone at that level of greatness of a player, you sometimes have to just lock in on the one thing. You have to do the thing to get to the thing. So I don't blame her entirely for not knowing or knowing how to communicate these things up front and outwardly when they're brought up, like racial injustices, sexism, all of those things, right? But I will say this Time Magazine, for me at least, brought some relief to the fact that her brand was starting to become aligned with, I'm not going to say their names, but with a large group of people that are against certain races and women's rights and the advancement of culture in order to favor a certain race as the supreme race. And in my gut and intuition, just based on certain things that she liked or may have mentioned in certain interviews, I knew there was a part of her that did not stand for that. But by her not saying it out loud and her having such a large brand, I've seen this with large athletes and celebrities where things now have to be a lot more strategic, a lot more planned out, a little bit scripted maybe, or perhaps coached. Maybe I shouldn't say scripted, but more so coached, educated. And it's up to her to make that decision on what she wants to say, and how she wants to build her brand, grow her brand, protect her brand, as well as her own personal safety. I'm sure last year was very overwhelming for her, but it doesn't negate the fact that she can't educate herself or take time out or build a team around her that will support her needs, her desire to be one of the best, if not the best basketball player in women's professional sports, but also to have such a huge platform like that. Maybe my expectations are a little bit too high, but I feel like you should know the responsibility that comes with. And if you choose not to speak on it and do anything, then you become complicit. And I feel like now that she's expressing her feelings and showing her love and respect and admiration for Black women and how they've revolutionized the sport, legend, right? I feel like people are getting offended now, those that were thinking that she represented something completely opposite of that. And I feel like it's going to make her brand stronger. Believe it or not, I feel like her brand is going to grow. People are going to look at her differently. They will still question, her morals and ethics and values and whatnot. But to me, her choosing to use such a large platform, such as her receiving an award like that, she didn't have to, but she did. And now that she has, it's going to create more separation amongst her fans, but also just push away the fans that weren't really there to support the game or women, but more so to push their own personal agendas. So we shall see how all of this unfolds, but I think the Time article was a great read. I'm about to go watch the interview now online and see how that goes, and maybe do a reaction video to that as well. But let me know what your thoughts on the Time article was and how it has impacted your views on Caitlin Clark, on the league, on her fandom, her cult following, and we can go from there. And this is the 84 Hoops crew. It's your girl Lils, aka Faya. Let's do this.